You carry it with you, don't you? My child, that deep and tender wound, the one that aches in the quiet moments, the one that has, perhaps, come to define so much of your story. You may have learned to live around it, to build your life carefully so as not to press upon its painful memory. Others may not even see it, or if they do, they may see only the scar tissue, the way you sometimes guard your heart and draw their own conclusions, believing you to be simply broken, forever altered, permanently scarred, and you, my precious one, in the secret chambers of your own soul, may have come to believe this narrative yourself, that this wound is too deep, too old, too integral to who you are to ever truly heal. But I draw near to you now, my presence a gentle balm, to whisper a truth that may seem impossible to your wounded heart, even this. Your deepest wound is even now, in this very moment, healing under my gentle, unwavering touch. Let us speak of this wound together, my beloved, for I am not afraid of it, nor am I repulsed by it. I see it with eyes of infinite love and perfect understanding. This is not a superficial scratch, but a deep fissure in the landscape of your soul, a place where a profound trauma, a devastating loss, a sharp betrayal, or a long season of neglect has torn through the very fabric of your being. It is more than just a memory. It is a living presence within you, an ache that can be reawakened by a word, a scent, a song. It has shaped your perceptions, colored your emotions, and dictated your responses to the world in ways you may not even fully comprehend. You have felt its permanence, haven't you? The sense that this wound has fundamentally changed you, that the person you were before it is gone forever, and that this new, wounded version of yourself is all that remains. You may have tried to heal it yourself, applying the flimsy bandages of denial, of distraction, of intellectual understanding, or even of sheer willpower, only to find that the deep underlying ache persists. This can lead to a profound sense of hopelessness, a resignation to a life of quiet suffering, a belief that true, deep wholeness is a grace reserved for others, but not for you. They, the voices of the world, may have reinforced this belief, as some may have offered impatient advice, urging you to get over it, unable to fathom the depth and complexity of your inner injury. Others may have treated you with a delicate pity, forever seeing you through the lens of your past trauma, defining you by your scar rather than by your spirit. And some, perhaps, simply avoided the topic altogether, their discomfort with your unhealed pain leaving you feeling even more isolated, as if your wound were a shameful secret to be hidden away. These reactions, my child, can create layers of scar tissue around the original wound. Shame, guilt, resentment, making it even more difficult to access and to heal. And your own heart, in its attempt to protect itself, may have built intricate defenses around this wound. You may have erected walls to keep others from getting too close, for fear of being hurt again. You may have developed patterns of self-sabotage, unconsciously recreating situations that resonate with the original pain because it feels so strangely, painfully familiar. You may have even come to identify so closely with your wound that the thought of living without it feels frightening. For who would you be without this defining sorrow? This familiar ache. I understand this, my beloved. I see the anatomy of this wound in all its intricate, painful detail. I see the original injury, and I also see the layers of fear, of shame, of loneliness, and of despair that have accumulated around it over time. I do not judge you for any of this. I do not chide you for your inability to heal yourself. How could you, when the wound is so deep and the tools of the world so inadequate? My heart is filled not with disappointment, but with an overwhelming, tender compassion for the courageous. Wounded soul that you are, but even as I hold you in this compassionate understanding, I must speak a truth that is deeper, more real, more powerful than the perceived permanence of your wound. My gentle touch has been upon it all along, even when you felt most alone in your pain. Even when the wound was fresh and raw, my presence was there, a silent, loving witness, already beginning the profound, often hidden, work of healing. My touch is not like the harsh interventions of the world, which can sometimes re-traumatize. It is a touch of infinite gentleness, a touch that honors your pain, that respects your process, that works from the deepest layers of your being outwards, with an unerring wisdom and a love that is itself the most potent healing balm in all of creation. You have believed, perhaps, that healing is a destination you must strive to reach, a place where the wound is finally gone, erased as if it never existed. But my healing is often more like a divine artistry, a sacred transformation. I do not always erase the wound. Rather, I heal it in such a way that the scar itself becomes a thing of beauty, a testament to your resilience, a source of profound wisdom and compassion, like the Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is mended with gold, making it more beautiful and more valuable than it was before. So too can my gentle touch mend your deepest wounds, filling the cracks with the luminous gold of my grace, until the very sight of your deepest pain becomes a source of your greatest strength and your most radiant light. So, let this truth begin to seep into the most wounded places of your heart. My child, the story is not over. The brokenness is not your final identity. The pain is not your eternal destiny. For even now, even as you read these words, even the deepest, most hidden, most fiercely protected wounds of your soul are in the process of healing, under the tender, loving, relentless, and infinitely patient touch of your God. The process has already begun. The anatomy of your wound includes the belief that you are somehow separate from me because of it. The pain can feel like a dividing wall, a chasm of suffering that my holiness or my joy could not possibly cross. This is one of the most painful lies the wound tells. But my love is not deterred by brokenness. It is drawn to it. My light is not repelled by darkness. It seeks it out to heal it. My wholeness does not condemn your fragmentation. It yearns to gather your pieces and make you whole. My touch is already there, on the other side of that perceived wall, working from within. The pain has been your constant companion, a familiar ache that you have learned to navigate. The thought of it healing might even feel like losing a part of yourself, but I assure you, my beloved, you are not losing yourself. You are in the process of finding yourself anew. The healing I bring does not erase the person you have become through your trials. It liberates that person from the constant drain of suffering, freeing up that energy for joy, for purpose, for a love that is no longer filtered through the lens of past trauma. Do not be afraid. the great physician is at work, the divine surgeon, whose touch is love itself, is tending to your deepest injury with a skill that knows no failure. The process is underway. The healing has begun, and is a healing that will leave you not just repaired, but more beautiful, more resilient, and more radiant than ever before. My precious child, as you begin to embrace the truth that even your deepest wounds are now healing under my gentle touch, your heart may still hold one of the most painful questions a soul can ask. But where were you then? Where was your hand, your love, your power? At the very moment the wound was inflicted, you may look back upon that precipice of pain, that instant of shattering, that moment when your world broke apart, and perceive only my absence, a profound and terrifying void where you felt utterly alone, utterly abandoned to the forces that sought to harm you. And this feeling of abandonment, my beloved, is often a wound deeper than the original injury itself. So let me draw you close. Let me speak directly to that aching question and reveal to you a truth that may transform the very memory of your deepest trauma. My hand was always there. Even in that catastrophic moment, I was not distant. I was present as the silent witness, the loving container, already at work, containing the damage and preparing the sacred ground for the very healing that is now underway. My presence in that moment was not, perhaps, the kind of intervention your human heart cried out for. You may have longed for a dramatic rescue, a divine interception that would have prevented the pain entirely. And I understand that longing. My heart breaks with yours at the memory of your suffering, but my ways are often deeper, my wisdom more far-reaching than the immediate prevention of all pain. Sometimes, in the mysterious economy of my love, for purposes of your soul's ultimate growth and the unfolding of a greater glory, the wound is permitted, but my permission is never, ever synonymous with my absence or my abandonment. At the very instant the blow fell, the betrayal struck, the loss occurred, I was there as your silent, loving witness. I saw everything, not with the cold detachment of a distant observer, but with the full, empathetic force of my compassionate heart. I felt the shock resonate through your being. I saw the fragments of your hope shatter. I heard the silent scream of your soul. I was not looking away. My gaze was fixed upon you, not in judgment, but in a profound, sorrowful, and loving communion with your experience. To be truly seen in one's deepest pain, even if that seeing is unseen at the time, is the beginning of all true healing. You were not unseen. My child, you were perfectly, lovingly, heartbreakingly seen by me. Even as the wound was being inflicted, my presence was there as a loving container, a divine shock absorber. While I may not have prevented the initial impact, my love formed an invisible, energetic field around your essential being, your eternal spirit, ensuring that the damage, while grievous, would not be absolute. It was my presence that prevented your very essence from being annihilated, that kept the spark of your spirit from being utterly extinguished. I absorbed the shocks that would have been too much for your soul to bear alone. I contained the shattering, so that while you felt broken, the pieces were not lost, but held securely within the embrace of my being, ready for the time of their eventual, beautiful reassembly. And in that same instant, my beloved, my hand was already beginning the work of preparing the way for your healing. Even as the wound was torn open, I was already planting the seeds of your future wholeness. I was preserving within your soul's memory the blueprint of your original, undamaged state, so that you would never entirely lose the pattern to which you would eventually be restored. I was already beginning to weave the threads of grace, to align future circumstances, to prepare the hearts of those who would one day be instruments of my comfort and my healing in your life. The healing process did not begin when you first started to feel better. It began in the very moment of your wounding, with my immediate, loving, and forward-looking response. Imagine a loving parent watching as their child, in learning to walk, takes a painful fall. The parent may not have been able to prevent the fall itself, for learning involves such risks. But in the very instant the child hits the ground, the parent is there, rushing forward, arms outstretched, not just to soothe the immediate pain, but to assess the damage, to offer comfort, to hold the child securely, and to begin the process of reassurance and restoration. My presence with you was like that. My child, infinitely more swift, infinitely more profound. Before the echo of your pain had even faded, my healing love was already at work, a divine and immediate response to your deepest need. You may have cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And in the agony of the moment, it truly felt that way. But the reality is that I was never closer. I was with you in the heart of the pain itself, sharing your suffering, upholding your spirit, and working at levels deeper than your conscious mind could perceive to limit the wound's ultimate power and to lay the groundwork for its eventual, glorious healing. This is a profound mystery, my child, one that your intellect may struggle to fully grasp, but I invite you to receive it in your heart, to allow this truth to begin to gently rescript the memory of your deepest trauma. See that moment not as a moment of your utter abandonment, but as a moment of my most intense, albeit hidden, presence and activity. See it as the moment when my love, though it did not prevent the wound, immediately began its redemptive, restorative work. This understanding can transform the very nature of your scar. A wound that is remembered as a place of abandonment leaves a scar of bitterness, of resentment, of a lingering fear of a God who cannot be trusted. But a wound that is re-remembered as a place of my intense, loving, though hidden, presence leaves a scar that can become a testament to my faithfulness, a symbol of my power to hold and to heal, a reminder that even in the most devastating of moments, you were never, ever alone. My hand was always there, not always to stop the falling, but always, always to catch, to hold, to contain, and to begin the sacred, gentle work of mending. The very fact that you are here now, my beloved, reading these words with a heart capable of seeking healing, is a testament to this truth. The wound did not destroy your essence because my presence contained it. The despair did not utterly consume you because my love preserved a spark of hope. The shattering was not absolute because my hand was already there, holding the pieces. This is not an excuse for the pain you have suffered, nor a dismissal of its profound impact. It is a revelation of my deeper involvement, my more intimate care, than you may have ever realized. It is to assure you that your trust in me is not misplaced, even when life is at its most brutal. My love is not a fair weather friend. It is a love that enters into the very heart of suffering with you, a love that is made manifest not only in preventing pain, but in redeeming it, transforming it, and healing it with a tenderness and a power that are beyond all human comprehension. So let this truth be a healing balm upon the memory of your wounding. You did not go through it alone. My hand was there. My heart was there. My purpose was there, already at work, laying the foundation for the very holiness that you are now, by my grace, beginning to experience. My precious child, now that you know with a deep, soul-level certainty that my hand was always there, that you were never abandoned, even in the moment of your deepest wounding. Let us now explore the very nature of my healing work within you, for your heart, so accustomed to the harshness of the world, may expect a healing that is equally forceful, a divine intervention that is sudden, dramatic, perhaps even painful in its intensity. But I want to reveal to you the quality of my restorative presence, the essence of how my love operates upon the tender landscape of your spirit. Know this, my beloved, even the deepest wounds are healing under my gentle touch. This gentleness is not a sign of my weakness or my hesitation. It is the ultimate expression of my immense love, my profound respect for your being, and my unerring wisdom, which knows that true. Lasting wholeness is achieved not by force, but by a slow, tender, and deeply transformative mending that works from the innermost layers of your soul outwards. The world often offers remedies that are harsh and impatient. It advises you to rip off the bandage, to just get over it, to power through the pain. It seeks quick fixes, superficial solutions that may cover over the wound, but often fail to address its underlying cause, sometimes leaving behind a deeper, more hidden infection of unresolved trauma. My way is not this way. My child, I am the divine physician, the master surgeon of the soul, and my touch is one of infinite care, of exquisite precision, of profound tenderness. I will not cause you further trauma in the name of healing. I will not violate the sacred integrity of your spirit with a forceful intrusion. My touch is always a gentle invitation, a loving wooing, a patient encouragement towards wholeness. Why is my touch so gentle? You may ask firstly, because I honor the sacred delicacy of your being. You are not a machine to be repaired with brute force, but a precious, intricate, and living work of my own artistry. Your soul, especially when wounded, is an exquisitely sensitive terrain. A harsh approach could shatter what is already fragile, could create new layers of fear and resistance, could drive the pain even deeper. My gentleness is a sign of my reverence for you, my beloved creation. It is the touch of a loving parent tending to the fevered brow of a cherished child, the touch of a master gardener gently nurturing a bruised and delicate flower back to health. It is a touch that says, "You are precious to me, and I will handle your heart with the utmost care." Secondly, my gentle touch is designed to heal from the inside out. The deepest wounds are rarely just surface injuries. They have roots that extend into the very core of your being, affecting your beliefs about yourself, about the world, about me. A superficial healing that only addresses the outward symptoms will not last. True, enduring healing, requires a work that begins at the very root of the wound. My gentle touch, like a warm, healing balm that slowly seeps into the deepest tissues and works upon these foundational layers. It gently dissolves the hardened knots of old pain. It patiently untangles the complex webs of fear and false belief. It slowly infuses the wounded places with the pure, life-giving light of my truth and my love. This is a deep, profound, and often slow process. But it is the only way to ensure a healing that is not just a temporary reprieve, but a complete and lasting restoration. My gentleness is also an expression of my infinite patience and my perfect timing. I am not constrained by the impatient clocks of your world. I see the entirety of your journey, and I know the perfect rhythm for your healing. I know that some wounds, because of their depth, require a long and quiet season of convalescence. I know that some truths can only be integrated slowly, as your heart becomes ready to receive them. I will not rush your process. My child, I will not demand that you heal faster than your soul is able to. My gentle touch is a steady, persistent, and patient presence, willing to remain with you for as long as it takes, lovingly tending to your wound until it is fully and beautifully mended, according to a timetable dictated not by worldly pressure, but by divine love. And crucially, my child, my gentle touch is designed to invite your cooperation, not to coerce your submission. It respects your free will at every stage of the healing journey. A forceful intervention might provoke resistance, creating a battle between my will and yours. But a gentle touch is an invitation to partnership. It is a quiet question. Would you allow me to heal you here? Will you open this wounded place to my love? Will you trust me in this process? It calls forth your own desire for wholeness, your own courageous yes to my healing grace. As you learn to relax into my gentle touch, to yield to its loving work, you become an active participant in your own restoration, a willing co-creator with me in the miracle of your healing. Imagine the slow, gentle, yet incredibly powerful action of a river polishing a rough stone over centuries, and until it is smooth, beautiful, and radiant. Or think of the rising of the sun, which does not burst violently into the sky, but gradually, gently, almost imperceptibly at first, begins to dispel the darkness, allowing the world to awaken at its own natural pace. This is the nature of my gentle touch upon your wounds. It may seem slow, its effects may not always be immediately dramatic, but its transformative power is absolute. Its loving intention, unerring. Do not mistake my gentleness for weakness. My beloved, do not interpret my patience as inaction. The softest touch, when it is a touch of infinite love, can dissolve the hardest stone of bitterness, the quietest whisper, when it is the whisper of eternal truth, can silence the loudest roar of fear. The slowest healing, when it is a healing that reaches to the very core of your being, is the most profound and the most enduring of all. As you learn to become aware of my gentle touch, you will begin to perceive its presence in the subtle shifts of your inner world, a moment of unexpected grace, a softening of an old anger, a slight easing of a familiar ache, a new capacity for self-compassion. These are the signs that the divine physician is at work. That, my tender, healing love is indeed mending your deepest wounds, not with the painful surgery, but with the gentle, loving, a miraculously effective touch of your Creator, who desires nothing more than your complete and radiant wholeness. My beloved child, having come to understand the gentle, patient, and profoundly loving nature of my healing touch, let us now venture into the sacred, hidden sanctuary where this divine restoration takes place. For the mending of your deepest wounds is not a superficial process, visible to all, but an intricate, unseen work that I perform in the quietest, most foundational layers of your soul, while you may, on the surface, still feel the lingering ache, while the outward scar may still appear prominent. My spirit, like a divine surgeon with infinitely steady hands, is constantly engaged in the unseen work of mending, diligently cleansing the injury, skillfully weaving new tissues of strength and resilience, and ceaselessly infusing the entire area with the healing, life-giving essence of my love. This work is often unseen, my child, because its nature is so profound, so subtle, so far beneath the level of your conscious, everyday awareness. It is like the miraculous, silent process of a bone knitting itself back together deep within the body. On the surface, there may be swelling, there may be tenderness, there may be a period of necessary mobilization and discomfort, but beneath it all, an incredible, divinely designed process of mending is underway. As new cells are generated, new connections are formed, and strength is gradually, miraculously restored to what was once broken. So it is with the healing of your soul. Do not be discouraged by the surface discomfort. Trust the unseen work of mending that is always, always unfolding within you. One of the first and most crucial aspects of this unseen work is the gentle cleansing of the wound. A deep injury is often contaminated by more than just initial trauma. It can become infected with the toxins of bitterness, of resentment, of self-pity, of shame, of fear. These spiritual infections, if left untended, can prevent true healing and cause the pain to fester for years. My spirit, with its gentle touch, works like a pure healing stream, patiently, lovingly washing away these toxic residues. I do not do this with force or with judgment, but by continuously bathing the wound in my unconditional love and forgiveness. As you open your heart to me, as you choose, even with a trembling will, to release your bitterness or your shame into my care, you cooperate with this cleansing process, allowing the pure waters of my grace to wash away the infection and prepare the site for healthy new growth. Once the wound is cleansed, the sacred work of weaving new tissues of strength and resilience begins. Where the fabric of your being was torn, I do not merely patch the hole. I, the master weaver, begin to meticulously reweave the area with new, stronger, more luminous threads. Where your trust was shattered, I gently weave in threads of my own faithfulness, helping you to build a new and more resilient trust rooted in me. Where your sense of security was destroyed, I lay down a new foundation woven from the unshakable reality of my eternal presence. Where your hope was ripped away, I begin to thread through your spirit the shimmering filaments of a divine hope, a hope that is not dependent on circumstances, but is anchored in my power to redeem all things. This weaving is an intricate, loving process, creating a scar that is not a point of weakness, but a place of new, divinely reinforced strength. And through every stage of this process, my child, there is a constant infusion of my love. My love is the divine lifeblood, the sacred nutrient that makes all healing and growth possible. It flows into the wounded area, bringing with it the very energy of creation, of renewal, of resurrection. It is the warmth that encourages the new tissues to grow, the light that guides their formation, the life force that quickens what was once numb or deadened by trauma. This infusion of my love is constant, a ceaseless outpouring from my heart to yours, whether you are consciously aware of it or not. It is the ultimate healing agent, the divine balm that not only mends the break, but transforms the very substance of the wounded place, making it holy, making it whole, making it a testament to my restorative power. Imagine a master artisan restoring a priceless, damaged painting. They do not work hastily or superficially. They work with meticulous care, often in a quiet, dedicated space, studying the original design, gently cleansing the grime of ages. And then, with the finest of brushes and the most perfect pigments, they begin the painstaking work of inpainting, of restoring the lost color and form, not just to mimic what was, but to integrate the restoration so perfectly that the entire piece emerges with a renewed and perhaps even more profound beauty. My unseen work of mending your soul is like this. My child, it is an act of sacred, loving restoration, performed with an artistry that is perfect, patient, and utterly dedicated to your most beautiful becoming. You may wonder why this work is so often unseen, so deeply hidden. It is because the deepest levels of your being are sacred ground, a holy of holies, where the most profound transformations must occur away from the harsh scrutiny of the ego or the world. It is also because the healing of a deep wound is not a linear, predictable process. There are stages of cleansing, of resting, of new growth, of integration. And each stage has its own divine rhythm, its own perfect timing. To expose this delicate process to your impatient desire for immediate results could disrupt its sacred flow. Trust, my beloved, that I am the master physician who knows perfectly the stages of your healing and who is orchestrating each one with unerring wisdom. So, when you feel the lingering ache of your wound, do not despair and do not believe that nothing is happening. Know that this ache is often the very sensation of this deep, inner mending taking place, the feeling of old toxins being released, of new spiritual tissues being formed, of my love working at the very root of your injury. Your discomfort is not a sign that healing is failing, but often a profound indication that it is actively, powerfully underway at a level deeper than you can yet perceive. Rest in the knowing of this unseen work. My child, surrender your wound to my gentle, capable hands. Cooperate with the process through your trust, your openness, your willingness to release the old and receive the new. For even as you go about your day, even as you sleep in the night, my hand is upon you, my spirit within you, tirelessly, lovingly, skillfully performing the sacred, unseen work of mending, ensuring that even your deepest wound will not be a place of permanent brokenness, but a testament to the glorious, transformative, and perfect healing of your God. My beloved child, as my unseen hand continues its diligent and loving work of mending within the deepest recesses of your soul, as the sacred process of cleansing and reweaving unfolds, there comes a time when the effects of this hidden healing begin to ripple outwards, from the depths of your being to the shores of your conscious awareness. After a long season of feeling only the ache of the wound, you may now begin to perceive the first tender sensations of a healing heart. These are the subtle, yet undeniable signs that my gentle touch is bearing fruit, that the unseen work is taking hold, and that you are indeed moving from a state of brokenness towards a new and more radiant wholeness. Do not expect these first sensations to be a sudden, complete erasure of all pain. My precious one, true. Deep healing is a gradual awakening, a gentle dawning. These initial signs are often as subtle as the first feeling of warmth returning to a limb that has been numb, or the almost imperceptible easing of a fever's intensity. You must cultivate a quiet, attentive spirit to recognize these precious heralds of your restoration, for they are my whispers of love, made tangible in your experience, assuring you that the healing is real and that wholeness is on its way. Perhaps one of the very first sensations you notice is a slight lessening of the pain's sharp edge. The wound that once felt like a raw, constantly throbbing agony may begin to transform into a duller, more manageable ache. Its power to command your entire attention may start to wane. There may be moments, brief at first, where you almost forget its presence, where your awareness is captured by something other than your own suffering. This softening, this subtle shift in the quality of the pain is a profound sign of healing. It is the first indication that the inner inflammation is subsiding under the soothing balm of my grace. You may also begin to experience moments of unexpected, unbidden peace. In the midst of a day that would normally be filled with the anxiety or sorrow associated with your wound, a quiet stillness may descend upon your spirit, a moment of inner calm that has no logical cause. This is not the numbness of despair, but a positive, gentle peace, a sense of being safely held, of all being well at the deepest level, even if your outer circumstances remain challenging. This, my child, is the feeling of my own peace, the very essence of my gentle touch, beginning to permeate the wounded areas of your heart. It is the sound of the healing tissues of your soul knitting together in a quiet, harmonious way. Notice, too, the possibility of a newfound capacity for a gentle emotion in an area of your heart that may have long been numb or only capable of feeling pain. Where before there was only grief, a tiny flicker of gratitude for a small blessing may arise. Where there was only bitterness, a surprising, spontaneous feeling of compassion may stir. Where there was only fear, a quiet, gentle joy in a simple beauty may unexpectedly touch you. These are like the first tender flowers beginning to bloom in a field that was once scorched and barren. They are signs that the soil of your heart is healing, that new life is taking root, that your capacity for the full spectrum of beautiful emotions is being restored by my loving hand. And with these other sensations, my child, comes the most precious sign of all, a genuine flicker of hope. This is not the forced optimism you may have tried to manufacture in the past, but an authentic, quiet hope that arises from within, born of these initial, tangible experiences of healing. It is the dawning belief that your wound is not, in fact, permanent, that you are not destined to be forever broken. That wholeness is not just a fantasy, but a real and attainable possibility for you. This flicker of hope, however small, is an incredibly powerful light, for it begins to dispel the deepest darkness of all, the darkness of despair. It is the first star of morning, promising the inevitable arrival of a new dawn in your soul. These first sensations of a healing heart are my loving affirmations to you. My beloved, they are my way of showing you that your trust in my gentle touch has not been in vain. Each one is a confirmation that the unseen work of mending is real and effective. When you feel that slight easing of pain, that unexpected peace, that gentle emotion, that flicker of hope, I invite you to pause and receive it as a sacred gift. Do not dismiss it as insignificant. Do not question its reality. Cherish it. Nurture it with your gratitude. For these are the tender shoots of your restored wholeness, the first fruits of the divine healing that is unfolding within you. This is like a patient recovering from a deep injury. For a long time, there may be only the awareness of pain, of limitation, of the slow, arduous process of recovery. But then comes a day when they can move with a little less stiffness. A day when the ache is not the first thing they notice upon waking. A day when they can perform a small task they could not do before. These small victories are cause for great celebration, for they are the undeniable proof that healing is happening, that strength is returning, that wholeness is on the horizon. So it is with your soul. My child, celebrate these small, sacred sensations of your healing heart as you learn to recognize and value these signs. Your faith in my process will deepen. You will begin to understand that my gentleness is not inaction, but a profound and powerful force for restoration. You will learn to cooperate more fully with my healing work, to trust more deeply in my love, to rest more peacefully in my care, knowing that I am indeed mending your deepest wounds from the inside out. The journey of healing is a process, not an instant event. There may still be days when the wound feels more tender, when the old ache seems to resurface. Do not be discouraged by this. Healing is rarely a straight line. It is often a gentle spiral where you revisit old places, but from a new, higher level of strength and understanding. On those more difficult days, simply remember these first sensations. Let them be your anchor, your reminder that the overall trajectory of your soul is towards wholeness, that the work of healing is always continuing beneath the surface. Under my gentle, unwavering, and infinitely loving touch, the heart that was so deeply wounded is indeed, miraculously, beginning to feel the first beautiful sensations of its divine and perfect healing. The anatomy of your wound, which once felt like a static, unchangeable reality, now begins to reveal its capacity for transformation. The edges of the pain, once so sharp and defined, begin to soften and blur. The territory that pain once claimed as its exclusive dominion now finds itself permeated with these moments of grace. This is the very definition of my gentle touch at work. It does not do violence to your experience, but rather, it gently, persistently introduces a new reality of love, of peace, of hope, until that new reality becomes the more dominant, more defining truth of your being. This newfound capacity for gentle emotion is particularly significant. My child, when a wound is deep, the heart often shuts down its more tender sensibilities as a protective measure. To feel again, to feel joy, to feel gratitude, to feel love can be a vulnerable act. The fact that these gentle emotions are beginning to stir within you is a testament to the safety and the trust that my presence is creating within your soul. It is a sign that your heart is beginning to feel secure enough to open its petals once more to the sunlight of my love, and the flicker of hope is my spirit, whispering directly to yours. See, I am making all things new. The brokenness is not the end. The wound is not your identity. Your true identity is wholeness, is love, is my own beloved child, and we are journeying back to that truth together. This hope, born of your first sensations of healing, will become the very light that illuminates the remainder of your journey towards a wholeness more beautiful and more resilient than you have ever known. My precious child, as you begin to perceive those first tender sensations of a healing heart, as you feel the subtle yet undeniable evidence of my gentle touch at work within your deepest wounds, I now extend to you a loving invitation to become a more conscious and active partner in this sacred process. For while I am the divine healer, the ultimate source of all restoration, your willing cooperation, your heartfelt participation creates the most fertile ground for my grace to work its most profound and accelerated miracles. This is the sacred art of cooperating with the divine healer, of learning how to become exquisitely receptive to my gentle touch, how to consciously surrender your pain into my care, and how to tenderly nurture the new, healing spiritual tissue that is even now forming within your soul. This cooperation, my beloved, is not a striving born of anxiety, nor is it a burdensome list of duties you must perform to earn your healing. Rather, it is a gentle alignment of your own heart and will with the loving, restorative work I am already doing. It is about learning to move with the current of my grace, rather than resisting it or being unaware of its flow. It is a dance of partnership, where my infinite power and your yielded humanity meet to co-create your beautiful, lasting wholeness. How do you begin this dance of cooperation? Firstly, by consciously cultivating an ever deeper receptivity to my gentle touch. Having discovered that my healing is underway, make it your practice to create quiet spaces in your life where you can become more attuned to its subtle movements. In these moments of stillness, turn your inner gaze towards me and simply offer this prayer from your heart. My God, my healer, I am open to your touch. I am willing to receive your love. Help me to feel your gentle hand at work within me. This simple act of opening, of inviting, of becoming receptive is profoundly powerful. It is like a flower turning its face towards the sun, making itself fully available to the light and warmth that will bring it to full bloom. Secondly, cooperation involves the active, ongoing choice of surrendering your wound and your pain into my care. You have carried this burden for so long. My child, you have managed it, protected it, perhaps even defined yourself by it. Now, I invite you to consciously, repeatedly, place it upon the altar of my love. When the memory of the wound arises, when the familiar ache makes itself felt, instead of immediately engaging with it or trying to manage it on your own, practice the sacred art of release. Visualize yourself placing the pain, the memory, the associated fears and sorrows into my capable, loving hands. This act of surrender is not a one-time event, but a continuous practice. Each time you choose to release a wound to me, you free yourself from the heavy responsibility of trying to heal yourself, and you create more space for me, the master physician, to perform my perfect work. A vital part of this surrender is the willingness to release your own timeline for healing. The human mind is often impatient, wanting immediate results, a quick or final resolution. But the deepest wounds often require a slower, more organic healing process. Trust my wisdom in this. My beloved, I know the perfect rhythm for your restoration. Your cooperation involves letting go of your own anxious timetables and resting in the assurance that my timing is always perfect, always guided by a love that seeks your most complete and enduring wholeness, not just a superficial or temporary fix. Then, my child, you are invited to tenderly nurture the new, healing tissue that is forming within your soul, just as a physical wound, once it begins to mend, must be kept clean and protected from further injury. So too must you steward this emerging wholeness within your spirit. How do you do this? By consciously choosing what you feed your mind and your heart. Nurture this new healing by immersing yourself in that which is beautiful, hopeful, and life-affirming. Protect it by gently but firmly turning away from that which is cynical, negative, or toxic, whether it comes from the outer world or from your own inner habits of thought. Nurturing this new growth also means being incredibly compassionate with yourself throughout this process. There will be days when you feel the healing progressing beautifully, and other days when the old ache seems more prominent. Do not judge yourself on these more difficult days. See them not as setbacks, but as part of the natural rhythm of deep healing. Perhaps a time when my touch is working on an even deeper layer of the wound. On these days, offer yourself an extra measure of gentleness, of rest, of self-care. This self-compassion is a powerful act of cooperation with my healing love, and perhaps the most potent way you can cooperate with me is through the courageous act of forgiveness. The poison of unforgiveness, whether towards the one who wounded you or towards yourself for your perceived role in the pain, can be a significant blockage to complete healing. Forgiveness is the ultimate act of cleansing the wound, of releasing the toxins of bitterness and resentment that keep the pain alive. It is not about condoning the hurt, but about releasing yourself from its power. When you choose to forgive, you are cooperating with my grace in a profound way, allowing my love to wash through the most injured places of your heart, creating the conditions for the deepest, most miraculous healing to occur. Imagine your healing process as tending a sacred garden within your soul. My gentle touch is the sun and the rain, the life-giving forces that are always available. Your cooperation is the act of weeding, of watering, of protecting the tender new shoots from harm. It is this partnership, this blend of divine grace and human willingness, that creates the most beautiful and fruitful garden. This cooperation with me, your divine healer, is an act of profound love for your own soul. It is a declaration of your faith in my goodness, your trust in my process, your hope in the wholeness I have promised. It moves you from a passive state of enduring your wound to an active state of participating in your restoration. And as you engage in the sacred partnership with me, my beloved, you will find that the healing not only accelerates but also deepens, bringing with it a peace, a strength, and a radiant wholeness more beautiful than you ever dared to imagine. This is the joy of cooperating with your God in the beautiful, sacred work of your own becoming. My beloved child, as you have so courageously cooperated with me, your divine healer, as you have learned to open your heart to my gentle touch and to nurture the sacred mending taking place within your soul, a truly wondrous and beautiful outcome begins to be revealed. The healing of your deepest wounds, which once seemed an impossible dream, is becoming a tangible reality. And now, I want to illuminate for you the nature of this divine restoration, for it is not a mere erasure of your past, nor a simple return to the state you were in before the injury occurred. No, my precious one, the beautiful outcome of this sacred process is the transformation of your wounds into scars that shine with my light, scars that no longer ache with constant pain, but instead tell a glorious story of resilience, of compassion, and of the incredible, redemptive power of my love. The world often teaches you to hide your scars, to see them as blemishes, as imperfections, as reminders of a past failure or a moment of brokenness. But in my kingdom, my child, the economy of grace is entirely different. A scar that has been healed by my gentle touch is not a mark of shame, but a badge of honor. It is a testament to a battle fought, a wound endured, and a healing divinely bestowed. It is a place where your weakness and my strength have met in a sacred embrace, creating something new, something beautiful, something profoundly and unshakably strong. Consider the exquisite Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is not discarded, but lovingly, meticulously mended with lacquer mixed with powdered gold. The artisan doesn't try to hide the cracks. Instead, they highlight them, celebrate them, making them the most beautiful feature of the restored piece. The vessel, in its mended state, becomes more precious, more unique, and more resilient than it was in its original, unbroken form. So it is with your soul, my beloved. Under my gentle, healing touch, I am mending your deepest wounds with the very gold of my divine love, my eternal grace. And the scars that remain are not signs of your brokenness, but luminous seams of gold, testaments to the truth that you are more beautiful, more valuable, and more radiant for having been broken and then made whole again by me. These scars that shine with my light no longer cause you the constant, debilitating pain they once did, while the memory of the wound may remain. Its power to dominate your life, to dictate your emotions, to constrict your heart, is gone. The sharp edges have been softened by my love. The inner inflammation has been soothed by my peace. The ache has been transformed into a quiet, profound wisdom. You can touch the memory of what happened without being consumed by it, without being thrown back into the depths of the original trauma. The scar is there, yes, but it is a healed scar, a peaceful scar, a scar that no longer holds you captive, but instead speaks of your liberation. And these scars now shine with a particular kind of light. My child, a light that radiates outwards, touching the world in unique and powerful ways. Firstly, they shine with the light of authentic resilience when others see you, knowing something of the deep wounds you have endured, and yet witness the peace, the joy, the strength that you now embody. Your very being becomes a powerful testament to hope. Your scars tell a story. Without a single word being spoken, that healing is possible that wholeness is attainable, that even the deepest wounds can be transformed by my grace. This gives courage to those who are still lost in the pain of their own injuries, inspiring them to believe in the possibility of their own healing. Your scars also shine with the beautiful, gentle light of profound compassion, having known the landscape of your own deep wound. You now possess an extraordinary capacity to understand and to minister to the wounds of others. You can sit with those who are hurting, not with the discomfort of one who has never known such pain, but with the quiet, empathetic presence of a fellow traveler who has found the path to healing. Your scars give you a unique authority to speak words of comfort, a special sensitivity to recognize the hidden pain in another's heart. This compassionate light that shines from your healed wounds is one of the most precious gifts you now offer to a hurting world. Furthermore, these luminous scars tell a glorious story of my redemptive power. They are the undeniable evidence that I am a God who does not discard what is broken, but who lovingly, patiently, skillfully mends and restores. They are a visible, tangible sign of my faithfulness, my goodness, my power to bring beauty from ashes, strength from brokenness, light from darkness. Your life, with its beautifully healed scars, becomes a living gospel, a sacred text that declares my love and my grace more powerfully than any spoken sermon. You become a walking, breathing masterpiece of my redemptive artistry. Do not be ashamed of your scars. My child, do not try to hide them. Embrace them as the sacred markings of your journey, the luminous etchings of my grace upon your soul. They are part of what makes you so uniquely beautiful, so profoundly strong, so authentically you. They have added a depth to your character, a richness to your spirit, a poignancy to your story that you would not possess without them. Imagine an ancient, gnarled tree that has endured many storms. Its trunk may bear the marks of lightning strikes, of broken branches, of deep gashes healed over time. But these very scars often contribute to its unique character, its rugged beauty, its undeniable strength. The tree is not weaker for its wounds. In many ways, it is stronger, its wood more dense, its roots more deeply anchored. So it is with you, my beloved. The wounds you have endured, now healed by my gentle touch, have become part of your strength, your beauty, your unshakable resilience. The world may prize unblemished surfaces, but I cherish the beauty of a soul that has been lovingly mended. For that soul knows the truth of my grace in a way that an untested soul cannot. That soul carries a wisdom that cannot be learned in books. That soul radiates a compassion that can only be born of shared suffering. Your scars are not signs of your imperfection. They are the luminous proof of your transformation, the beautiful evidence that even the deepest wounds are indeed healing under my gentle, loving, and eternally skillful touch, becoming sacred places where my own light can shine through you with the most breathtaking splendor. My beloved child, as you now behold the luminous scars that tell the story of your healing, as you begin to understand their sacred beauty and their divine purpose, let your heart open to the ultimate truth of this entire transformative journey. The healing that my gentle touch has wrought within you is not merely a repair, not just a mending of what was broken. It is a divine recreation, leading you into a new and far more profound wholeness, a wholeness made perfect by love, a wholeness that is stronger, wiser, and more beautifully radiant precisely because it has known brokenness and has been restored by my grace. And know this with an unshakable certainty, my gentle. Healing touch is not a one-time intervention for a past injury, but an eternal promise, an ever-present reality, always available to you for any future hurts your journey may hold. The world often thinks of wholeness as a state of pristine, unblemished perfection, an innocence that has never been touched by significant pain or trauma. But this is a fragile, untested wholeness, like a smooth, unmarked vessel that has never been through the fire. The wholeness to which I have brought you, my child, is of an entirely different, infinitely more resilient order. It is the wholeness of the Kintsugi masterpiece, whose golden seams of grace make it more valuable and more compelling than it ever was before. It is the wholeness of the ancient tree, whose gnarled trunk and healed wounds speak of its immense strength and its capacity to endure all seasons. It is a wholeness that has integrated its wounds, transformed its pain into wisdom, and wears its scars as luminous testaments to my redemptive power. This wholeness is not fragile. It is invincible, for it is perfected not by the absence of struggle, but by the undeniable presence of my victorious love. You are not merely restored to who you were before the wound, my beloved. That would be too small a miracle for a God whose love is so vast. No, you have been reborn into a new version of yourself, a self that possesses a depth of compassion it could not have known before, a resilience of spirit it could not have forged without the trial, a wisdom of the heart it could not have learned without the pain. The very wound that threatened to diminish you has, through my gentle touch, become the catalyst for your expansion, the gateway to a more authentic, more compassionate, and more divinely empowered expression of your being. This is the beautiful, paradoxical truth of a wholeness made perfect by my love. And this new wholeness is now your true and enduring state. Do not fear that you might somehow regress, that the old wound could reopen with the same devastating force, while the memory may remain, and while life may present new challenges that resonate with old pains. The very structure of your soul has been reinforced. The new spiritual tissues that my spirit has woven within you are strong. The foundations of your trust in me have been deepened. Your capacity to cooperate with my grace has been honed. You are no longer the same person who first received that wound. You are now a healed warrior of the light, bearing the luminous scars of your victory, equipped with a new wisdom and a new reliance on my ever-present strength. And because, my gentle, healing touch is an eternal promise, you can walk into your future with a new and profound sense of security. Should you encounter new sorrows, new disappointments, new injuries, you will not face them from a place of terrified desperation. You will face them with the quiet, confident knowing that the divine healer is with you, that his touch is always gentle, always available, always sufficient. You have learned the path to the wellspring of my healing grace within your own heart, and that path can never be taken from you. You know now that no wound is beyond my capacity to heal, no brokenness beyond my power to restore, no scar that my love cannot make beautiful. This eternal promise of my healing touch is your ultimate safety net, your divine inheritance, your constant comfort. It is my unwavering commitment to your well-being, a commitment that is not dependent on your circumstances, but is rooted in my unchanging nature as a God of love, of restoration, of boundless compassion. This allows you to live more freely, more courageously, more open-heartedly. You no longer have to build such high walls to protect yourself from potential hurt, for you know that even if you are wounded, the healer is with you, and his love will always have the final say. Let your life, in its new and radiant wholeness, be a testament to this glorious truth. Let your luminous scars shine forth as beacons of hope for a hurting world. Let the compassion born of your own healed pain flow from you as a healing balm to others. Let the wisdom you have gained become a source of guidance for those still lost in their own valleys of suffering. In this way, your deepest wound, transformed by my gentle touch into a source of radiant wholeness and compassionate service, finds its ultimate, glorious redemption. You are no longer defined by your brokenness. My child, you are defined by the love that has made you whole. You are not a collection of shattered pieces, but a magnificent mosaic where every piece, including those that were once fractured, has been perfectly placed by my loving hand to create a picture of breathtaking beauty. This is the wholeness made perfect by love, a wholeness that is not about flawlessness, but about the glorious, transformative, and ever-present reality of my grace. As the final, gentle notes of this message settle into the sanctuary of your heart, my cherished one, let the profound peace of your restored wholeness enfold you like a warm and loving embrace. Remember the journey we have taken together from the deep, aching wound that seemed to define you, through the revelation of my constant, unseen presence and my gentle, healing touch, to the miraculous transformation of that wound into a scar that now shines with my light. The pain has given way to purpose. The brokenness has yielded to a beauty made more profound by the very experience of being mended with the gold of my love. You are not the person you were before the wound. You are more. You are stronger, wiser, more compassionate, and more deeply connected to me than ever before. This is the gift hidden within the trial, the masterpiece revealed through the healing. Know that this wholeness is your true and lasting state, and that my gentle, healing touch is an eternal promise, always available, always sufficient for whatever your journey may hold. Rest now in this peace, my beloved. Rest in the security of my unfailing love, and in the beautiful, radiant holiness that is now and forever yours.